Chapter 7. The Fear of Failure. Murphy's Law: anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Fear of failure. Okay, there's no way I can be like these people. It gets murkier each time I research how individuals version themselves and how companies diversify to stay relevant. It is expensive and requires lots of hours. I just can't keep up with this trend. Versioning takes time, money, and effort, three things I don't have in abundance. I know it's easier for Elon Musk to version himself because he has the resources to absorb the shock if his new direction doesn't work. The fear of failure might be the main reason holding me back from versioning myself and shedding my old skin for a new me. Fear, a universal barrier. Almost all of us have a story about fear and failure. It's a natural part of being human. No one likes to fail. Many people, myself included, struggle to step out of their comfort zones. Some may never find the confidence to do so. If I'm not completely broken, why should I fix myself? One of the major obstacles that hold people in the base group back from trying something new, whether it's making a significant investment or switching careers, is the fear of failure. The fear that their new self might still fall short can be paralyzing. Some would say, I can't learn the skills needed to change my career, and I fear starting from the bottom. Studying members of the isosceles group has taught me that failure isn't the end or doom and gloom. It's a stepping stone. It highlights areas that need improvement or adjustment. To the isosceles group, failure serves as a platform for growth, offering new insights and better approaches. It fuels their determination to keep experimenting until they find what works. As Thomas Edison said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Versioning and diversifying don't guarantee success. It comes with periods of struggle and many failures before steady success is realized. Murphy's Law keeps us grounded, making it even harder to take risks. Even in science, reactions don't always work. Molecules and atoms constantly collide, but to react, they must overcome an energy barrier known as activation energy, E. Sometimes this barrier is low, other times it is high. Many reactions fail unless they stretch their bonds, reorient their atoms, and find a way to surpass the EA barrier. What's also true is that each reaction follows a unique path because every molecule behaves differently. Similarly, success follows different paths. But if the reactants persist, stretching their bonds, reorienting their atoms, and overcoming the energy barrier, they achieve transformation. In chemical terms, this means moving from a less stable state to a more stable one, just as personal growth leads to greater stability and success. Even molecules know that success is not common, it comes with work. Notwithstanding, there are also biological reactions and processes that can go wrong. For instance, the immune system protects against harmful invaders like bacteria and viruses by producing antibodies. But the body can mistakenly identify harmless substances such as food and pollen as threat, leading to overproduction of histamine. And this causes swelling, itching, and overall allergic reactions. The same is true for abnormal cell division, leading to cell mutations such as cancers, and oxidative stress from the imbalance of reactive oxygen species and antioxidants such as glutathione. Additionally, many biochemical processes and pathways have multiple functional routes, ensuring built-in redundancy to manage failure. If one pathway fails, another can compensate to maintain and carry out essential functions. The truth is, things do go wrong and systems do fail. It is part of life, and no one or systems can change it. But these biochemical processes keep on working with all they have left. I often wonder why I give up so easily after a small setback, without pushing on, or why I rely on a single pathway for all my essentials, with no system in place to manage failure. Lessons from companies that feared change. But why do members of the isosceles group still take risks, knowing failure is possible? My guess is that they understand biological and chemical systems better than the rest of us, or they simply recognize that refusing to adapt to the market is already a form of failure. This group realizes that success means change, and if they want to keep their businesses afloat, they must keep evolving. So the fear of not changing is greater than the fear of staying small. Many companies have failed because they resisted change. Here are some of them. Blockbuster. Once a giant in the video rental industry, Blockbuster failed to adapt to the shift towards digital streaming and mail order. The company didn't invest in online distribution and passed on an opportunity to acquire Netflix. Blockbuster filed for bankruptcy in 2010. Kodak, Eastman Kodak, a pioneer in the photography industry, struggled to embrace the digital revolution. Despite inventing the digital camera in the 1970s, Kodak was slow to transition from film-based products. The company filed for bankruptcy in 2012. Nokia. Nokia dominated the mobile phone market for years but failed to keep up with the smartphone revolution. The company's focus on traditional mobile phones and its reluctance to adopt touchscreen technology led to a decline in market share. Microsoft eventually acquired Nokia's mobile phone business in 2014. Toys R Us. Once an iconic toy retailer, it struggled to compete with the rise of online shopping. A heavy debt load and competition from e-commerce giants led to its bankruptcy in 2017. BlackBerry. Once a leader in the smartphone market, BlackBerry failed to keep pace with competitors like Apple and Android. The company's focus on physical keyboards and enterprise users limited its appeal to a broader consumer market. BlackBerry's market share dwindled, and it eventually shifted focus to software and services. Radio Shack. Once a go-to store for gadgets and components, it couldn't keep up with online retailers and big-box stores. Rebranding efforts fell short, leading to multiple bankruptcies and store closures. Xerox. A pioneer in photocopiers and printers, Xerox faced challenges as demand for paper copies declined in the digital age. The company struggled to innovate and diversify its product offerings, affecting its market position. Pan American World Airways (Pan Am). Once an iconic airline, Pan Am failed to adapt to the changing dynamics of the airline industry, including the rise of low-cost carriers and changing travel patterns. Financial troubles and increased competition led to bankruptcy in 1991. Borders Group. A major bookstore chain, Borders struggled to compete with the rise of ebooks and online book retailers like Amazon. The company's late entry into the ebook market and financial mismanagement led to bankruptcy in 2011. If I were a company, my name could be next. I don't want to expose myself too much or be vulnerable, but it's all coming back to me. There were times when change knocked on my door and my actions firmly said, "No, go away." But how would I have known if that change was a good one? We don't all have crystal balls to predict the future. Even big companies like Xerox, BlackBerry, and others couldn't always separate the wheat from the chaff. Life doesn't like excuses and punishes dearly. These companies would rather version themselves than remain small and out of business like members of the base group. Fear is universal even among giants. What puzzles me is that while the base group resists change, companies thrive by incorporating it into their strategy to keep consumers engaged. For example, Costco keeps moving items around the store and introduces new products or sells different items at different times. I noticed this with paper towels at Costco, where they had two brands in rotation for some reason. Walmart constantly changes the floors, shelves, and store arrangements. They keep their ears close to the ground and stay alert to the evolving wants and needs of their customers. There's a popular saying that knowledge helps overcome fear by providing a sense of control over the factors that cause it, and I think these stores understand that. The biggest fear for major stores is how to attract and retain customers while ensuring their continued relevance. In simple terms, they fear no business. They are constantly seeking to understand what customers want, how to deliver it, and strategically plan to make it accessible. Companies like Amazon and Walmart collect vast amounts of data on what's selling and what customers are buying. Imagine if these companies shared that data with you. How would you use it? Of course, they won't. Instead, they leverage it to create private label brands like Great Value, Amazon Basics, and Kirkland, filling their shelves with products they know will sell. Or if the big G, the godfather of information, revealed what users are searching for based on their queries, browsing history, and people's whereabouts, how would you use that data? We know some companies sell this information to third parties, but the major companies use it to mitigate their fear of losing customers and staying relevant. Imagine if no one visited Walmart or purchased an Apple product for an entire month. You can see why these companies keep a tight grip on their data, continuously innovate, and introduce new products to inspire customer loyalty and even to compete with other products on their shelves. The last part of this puzzled me. Why would you sell the same as a vendor or supplier who rents your shelf space? I decided not to investigate further or ask why. But over the years, the number of store brands and platform brands products like the Kirkland, Up and Up, Private Selection, Amazon Basics, and Great Values have increased significantly. As per whether Walmart is worried if I would show up to the store tomorrow, I don't think so. Walmart likely isn't concerned. They know I'll be there tomorrow, and all my tradition-minded friends will be there too. They have the data and the assurance in what they've built and the essential offerings they provide, all waiting for me. They offer groceries, pharmacies, banks, money services, auto, hardware, and so much more, leaving me with little choice but to visit. And if it's not Walmart, I'll surely visit another big box store or a smaller local store that sources products from them or other large retailers. The known and unknown fear. However, Walmart still fears losing business to competitors, stagnation, management issues, and unforeseen circumstances in the future. Every business owner experiences fear. It's only natural to fear for the future and feel uncertain about what tomorrow holds. The greatest unknown fear comes from disruptors, outsiders watching for opportunities to break into the industry. These disruptors are always on alert, monitoring established companies' every move, their greed, missteps, and one-star customer reviews. The moment a company slips or stagnates, they're ready to swoop in. These unknowns are many and sometimes include other big companies wanting to expand into new businesses. They watch closely, hungry and ready to upend these giants. The only thing holding them back are resources and timing. The big players are aware of this, and the fear of these disruptors keeps them on alert. Did you know that even employees, especially managers in regions or departments, can bring a store location to its knees? Stores are aware of this and fear the possibility of employees turning against them. That's one reason they hire assistants for key positions and work to standardize and document processes as much as possible, ensuring they have ready replacements when needed. Don't be fooled by towering buildings, impressive office spaces, and fancy suits. Fear is real for everyone involved. Giants can be taken down by competitors, or a disruptor. Fear is ever present. Yet, these stores also plan for failure and have strategies in place to adapt to market changes and customer buying patterns if challenges arise. Even Ferrari, the renowned automaker, worries about a potential decline in sales. However, they believe that the deliberate scarcity they've created will serve as the key to their ongoing success. They anticipate that after all your hard work, you'll feel compelled to demonstrate your value and wealth in society by owning a piece of their market. SpaceX, a case study in resilience. As I read about fears and failures, I found SpaceX's story to be particularly compelling. They faced multiple failures in their attempts to launch the Falcon rocket. However, they carefully studied each failure, identified the causes, and eventually achieved partial success, leading to subsequent successful launches. They encountered issues like engine failure, premature shutdown, thrust-related explosions, payload problems, overpressurization, and launch pad explosions. While failures come with significant financial costs, and even Elon Musk faced financial challenges, requiring assistance from banks and the government, today, SpaceX is valued at over $100 billion, according to the Wall Street Journal. Although it may not be feasible for everyone to bear the cost of all losses when starting or running a business, you can plan for them and aim to minimize failures. Failure is an essential part of the path to success. Companies must work through problems and refine their strategies through multiple iterations. which can be seen as a sophisticated term for failure. Some might be lucky, but most must endure this challenging process of fixing issues. Failure is the ultimate refinement process, saving for failure, a new perspective. What I've learned from all of this is that failure is part of versioning, and those who succeed plan for it. So, what if I budgeted for failure, set aside money specifically to absorb setbacks? Yes, that's right. I want a dedicated account that gives me the freedom to fail as I experiment and learn. Many would argue it's better to use other people's money, but at the base, that's not always an option, especially in the experimental phase. Plus, most billionaires start with some family wealth, while the base rarely receives genuine support from family and friends. I believe this approach of actual planning will help pivot and version myself when the opportunity arises, rather than say, "That's not for me because I can't afford the risk." I can start today by creating a separate account dedicated to experimenting with new ventures and being prepared to persevere, even if some endeavors fail. I will adapt and iterate until success comes my way. Maybe it's time to resist the temptation to remain in my comfort zone and stop hiding behind a screen. My support for the 9-to-5 lifestyle can wane if I version myself and break free from the triangular cycle of work, store visits, and my apartment. This lifestyle feels borrowed, like something passed down to me from the society or the base group. I don't know when or how I stepped into it, but I'm here now, resisting comfort and embracing change. The temptation to remain in our comfort zones is strong. My own routine, work, store visits, and home, is predictable and safe, but it's also limiting. This inherited way of living doesn't align with my aspirations. To grow, I need to resist the urge to hide behind a screen and take proactive steps toward versioning myself. Victoria's story comes to mind. She's a woman I met at church who spent years feeling burnt out and unfulfilled in her nursing career. She dreamed of pursuing her passion for photography, but was paralyzed by the fear of leaving a stable job. Determined to make a change, Victoria bought a laundromat and hired a manager to run it in exchange for a share of the profits. This gave her the freedom to take evening photography classes while continuing her nursing job. Over time, she built a portfolio and began taking on clients. Today, she's a full-time photographer, living her dream. Victoria's journey wasn't without its challenges. There were Sundays when she came to church visibly exhausted and frazzled, but her perseverance paid off. Her story is a testament to the power of embracing change, cautiously stepping into the unknown, and having the courage to chase what truly fulfills you. Oddly, Victoria's friend Rasan also made a bold career move but into nursing. Tired of feeling stuck as a secretary, Rasan saw better prospects in becoming a registered nurse. She enrolled in an accelerated nursing program and within 18 months earned her RN credentials. After that, I didn't see much of her at church, but one day I ran into her at a party. I was eager to ask why she made the change and took the risk. Her answer was simple: pressure. The pressure from family and life on a fixed salary was overwhelming, and work was demanding more for the same pay. She had two choices: buckle or stretch. She chose to stretch herself and explore other options to change her situation. She admitted it wasn't easy, but she had to do it, and she did. It was worth it, according to her. Rasan and Victoria remind me that it's never too late to rewrite your path and find happiness in a new chapter. Reinventing yourself is challenging, but it's entirely possible. The price of fear. Fear can be paralyzing, but for me, its biggest challenge is inaction, specifically, not starting on an idea. We all have ideas, yet we often hesitate to act on them, held back by the fear of failure or, in my case, the fear of not having everything perfectly in place before launching. Members of the isosceles group face the same fear, but the difference is that they take action. To them, an idea is like a seed. Its full potential is unknown except for the initial thought that sparked it. Only by planting the seed do they begin to discover what it contains. In other words, starting on an idea is the key. Their true power lies in taking the first step and learning as they go. They don't have everything figured out from the beginning, but with time, their idea takes shape. It's only after it fully develops and they begin to test its results that they truly understand what they've created. Yet even then, the journey doesn't stop. Their ideas can branch out, evolve, or lead to something entirely new. The true price of failure is not knowing what your ideas can become. If you sat Reed Hastings, Larry Page, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jack Ma, and Jeff Bezos in a room and asked them what they initially thought of their ideas compared to what they have become today, you would be shocked at their answers. My guess is that one of them would say, "It has diverged," or "It has grown beyond what I originally imagined." In summary, the idea is nature's way of nudging you out to explore, and the possibilities of that idea are endless if you know how to execute. You must start first. Starting is the power, and fear is the small hand holding you back from the threshold to it.